All right, what's going on, everybody? November outlook. A lot going on, a lot of the same stuff in terms of structure and outlook. But obviously, want to go over the details, give you guys as much heads up, as much transparency. And again, I think the most important part is you just know what's coming so you can plan for it and kind of project yourself forward, obviously, through the month of November as the holidays begin. Yoga, the rotating schedule, again, getting great feedback from that. I hope you guys are enjoying that. Feedback is always welcome. These are the types of things I'd love to find more stuff like this, not necessarily taking away from class time, but just things that have internal value, such as like this rotating yoga schedule. So again, hopefully you guys can find your ways into that. It's free to you guys. I know a lot of people are kind of double dipping. They'll go to yoga and go to class, or vice versa, go to class and then go to yoga. All the times are listed right there, the 9th and the 23rd being Sunday classes at 4 p.m. The chest cycle finishes on the 12th, so that is the 12th week of that big cycle, which matters because we're going to start a couple more cycles. So, I was going over this in my head for longer than you probably care to know. And I think I landed this way. We're going to do a mini cycle starting on the 14th for a shoulder press. Okay. I was going back and forth between making it a push press mini cycle or a shoulder press mini cycle, but I think at the end of the day, people, for the most part, need to develop muscle and strength via hypertrophy and progressive overload, more so than learning a skill like push pressing. Not that you can't develop strength via the push press, but this is just more controlled, being stationary, and allowing you to isolate a little bit more rather than relying, on your entire kinetic chain to get weights up and over your head. So I landed on a mini cycle here. If you don't know what a mini cycle is, it's 8 weeks. It's not as structured as a 12-week cycle, meaning like, not that I want you to miss weeks, but there's flexibility in the days. So as a 12-week cycle, like the deadlift cycle you see there starting on December, which I know it's December, I just added it in to give you guys a heads up like it's coming. A 12-week cycle is every 6th day, like for 12 consecutive weeks with a exact number and percentage and rep count and time of recovery that you kind of have to be precise with in order to see progression as efficiently as possible or as effectively as possible. Whereas the mini cycles, I do kind of on the side, supplementary, that kind of just gives you guys an opportunity to know that for 8 consecutive shoulder days, you will see a seated press, right? It doesn't mean it's going to be every 6th day. It doesn't mean there's going to be necessarily progressive overload with it, but it's going to give a lot of people the opportunity to get repetition and volume underneath them to not only just get better at the movement in terms of neuromuscular, but all the other stuff that goes along with it. And I will try to incorporate some level of progressive overload into it, but I don't want people going into it thinking it's like a 12-week cycle where it's as precise as a 12-week cycle, because it's not. So I wanted to get back into these mini cycles. I really think they complement the big cycles really, really well. And while we're pulling, we can push, which is kind of nice, or press. From a training perspective, which is great, kind of yin to the yang there. The monthly emphasis this month is, which I'm really excited about, is hip mobility. I've had a couple people actually talk about this in the past. I've been thinking about this one for a couple of months now. Again, I just kind of enjoy, as I said in the past, I like doing kind of a physically taxing monthly emphasis followed by something a little bit more calm and more developmental. In terms of a foundation, hip mobility, I think this one's going to be really good. I think people are really, really going to like it. And for those of you that, watch this video, the first 7 days of November, which I believe it starts on a Saturday. So Saturday, basically around the clock there, we're going to have the same kind of introduction to hip mobility, because I think a lot of people are going to struggle with it. So I don't want to get too crazy there. And then we'll probably fall into the same path I followed with the deep squat and the toe stuff, and the foot stuff, not the toe stuff, where it's like 3-day chunks or so, and we'll kind of progress our way through the entire month. But hip mobility looks really cool. I'm excited for people to get into that. I think it's something people really, really need in their lives, especially for somebody, again, that spends a lot of time seated. And then the baselines are there for your reference point. This is a pretty heavy month of baselines. And what I mean by that, it's only 4. 4 is kind of the max I'll go to, in the sense that these are 4 like big baselines. These are not like 1-minute tests or a 10-minute AMRAP. Like, these are full classes, all 4 of them, and they're all quite difficult in their own way. So Again, we limited it to 4. I'm acknowledging that I know 4 full class baselines in a month is a lot. I know that, but it was just they're kind of due, and I've been pushing some of these off, and I want to knock them out before the new year rolls around and before the holidays all hit us. And then regarding the holiday, the schedule is updated in MBO. You guys can go in there and kind of look ahead to November, obviously being Thanksgiving. No days are totally canceled, but the schedule is pretty altered. I kind of go off past years and utilization and kind of the times that people actually want to come to work out during holiday schedule. So again, constructive criticism always welcome. Just text me or text Kelsey, and hopefully this is information that helps you guys kind of plan.